What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Steven Ostentoski here of Maize and Brew, bringing you another video after the Rutgers game. Lots of discussion about Cade McNamara. Obviously, he came in, revitalized Michigan's offense. He went 27 for 36 for 260 yards, 5 total touchdowns, no turnovers. So really good performance from him. He came in when Michigan was down, I believe 3 possessions, put together a performance critical to Michigan's victory. So the offense looked significantly different from McNamara versus Milton. Yes, McNamara was great, but there were also other things that the offense did throughout the game that made things a little bit easier for McNamara than Milton. So let's go over it. I'm going to have 4 chapters here. I'll put them in the description below. I'm going to cover Milton footage and then discussion a little bit about his performance overall. I'll talk about McNamara with his footage, and then I'll have a McNamara discussion as well at the end. I'll put those chapters timestamped in the description below, so check those out. Let's get to the analysis here. All right, so like I said, let's start with some Milton throws here. So let's start first with some of his good throws, right? He did have a decent game. This first one, Eubanks on a hitch route for a first down on 3rd and 5. Well-placed ball there. Second one, a slant here to Johnson. This is a really good play just because, minus the fumble, I forgot that happened for a second. So main thing I want to look at here is this is brought on a blitz, right? So we do have a cornerback blitz putting on from number 16 here coming off the edge. Milton recognizes that on the quick slant. He delivers the ball here appropriately on time. Again, it's 3rd and 4. So that's a really good pass, right? Recognizing the pressure, keeping his cool, throwing to the vacated guy on his route, right? Something we saw a lot with McNamara, but Milton did a good job here recognizing that as well. So give him some credit for that throw in a 3rd down situation. Obviously, here's a part of bad luck. Delivers a nice ball. And you have Johnson who gives it away in Rutgers territory. This is the first drive, offensive drive for Michigan in this game. So obviously that hurts, right? To have that, that's never good, never what you want to see. Here's another nice throw here, deep out to Johnson on the sideline. Well-placed ball, well-timed. And, you know, when he was on, and he made a couple really nice throws here. Here's a really nice one as well. Up the seam, nice touch on the ball to Giles Jackson, right where it had to be on this pass. So, you know, not a laser beam. This is perfect amount of height on the ball, makes it really catchable for Giles Jackson here. So he did have the ability to do that. There were some drops as well. So this first one to Ronnie Bell, I thought you could argue a little fast, right? He tried to squeeze it into a window. I think Ronnie Bell kind of like held up here a little bit. He kind of stopped, expecting it to be tipped, and I think he could have reacted a little bit better to that. The second one, back shoulder to Jackson. Again, this is 3rd and 6. This is about as well-placed ball as you can. I think Jackson was a little late on turning here. Does get a hand on it. It's a tough catch, but I think this is a catchable ball for Jackson. Another thing here, obviously Milton wasn't perfect, right? Here he's scrambling, 2nd and 10. And he finds the open receiver, but just doesn't deliver an accurate ball there, right? So good job from him scrambling, getting out here, extending the play. But this 2nd and 10, it's a big play, throw way too far out in front of Sanders, still not a realistic catch. And then this other one, Bell down the sideline. This is eventually the last play, I think, before he got pulled for McNamara. Unacceptable, right? He had a huge window down the sideline here. Watch Ronnie Bell at the top of your screen. He beats his guy. There's a gap here in the zone. You can see this gap. And if Milton threw this ball earlier, he would have a lot more room. He still has a lot of room up here. Instead, he throws it behind. It allows this defensive back to get there. And luckily, it's not intercepted. So, again, I'm not saying there's anything acceptable about that. That's not a good play by any means. So, next aspect here, though, the run game only produced 17 yards in the first half, right? That is not sack adjusted, but first play, Haskins bottled up. Here's Corum, right? This is a second and 1. So again, this sets up a 3rd down. If you watch Filiaga here, your left guard, he's not able to pick up that linebacker. So there was a cutback lane if you stop right here. If you have Blake Corum coming to the left of Filiaga, you could argue that, a little more patience, but regardless, it wasn't well blocked for Corum to pick up a first down on this 2nd and short. Sets up a 3rd down. Here's a 4th down where, again, watch Filiaga missing his guy, left guard. That just blows up this play, right? There's nothing Milton can do about his left guard here. If you watch Filiaga, just completely blows assignment. This guy's in the backfield, and you just have Charbonnet have to pick this up, where really Charbonnet is supposed to be leading the way, and Milton follows. So that's just something that, again, bad luck for Milton in there. That play would have been blown up. Also a bad spot. But again, right there, 66. Filiaga just getting blown up. That any quarterback is going to struggle when there's a defensive tackle immediately in the backfield, right? So can't really feasibly put that on Milton. So just something to point out, and I'll get to this later. It was not good on throughout the game. The running backs had to produce a lot, but here's another play here where the play was seemingly there. If you count the numbers, let's just rewind this a little bit. If you count the numbers here, play side, you have enough blockers, right? So you have, let's move back here just a minute. So the 7 guys that you're going to block, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, the 6. You have the guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You outnumber them with this pin and pull. This guy's coming here. You have this guy coming up here. And then you're going to have a backside guard coming through the hole to pick up any linebacker. The only guy who's free really is this safety coming down, but this is room for a good pickup on first down. The issue is, watch here or here. Watch the interior offensive line. I'll pick who it is. Yeah, it's your center here. Or sorry, it's your left guard. Center's pulling. So watch the left guard here. He is going to miss his block, right? And that's the guy who's going to come through. So there he is, engaged, and then he loses him. The guy loops around. He's able to loop around here and cut between the pullers. Good block here from Filiaga. And then you're going to have the pull coming through. He doesn't pick this guy up because he should be accounted for, right? We saw that missed block. Again, beyond that, think of what difference that does for an offense. Instead of what probably should have been a 2nd and 5 or so, now it's 2nd and 7, 2nd and 8. That's a big difference. And that constricts your playbook quite a bit. Okay. Possible missed reads here. Okay. So this is one cornerback blitz at the top of your screen, takes a sack. Again, you had 2nd and 5. Now you're at 3rd and 12, 3rd and 13. That doesn't set up your offense well. This is something that you could argue McNamara did really well on, but you have to recognize this guy blitzing. What's that going to do for your offense? That's going to open up a slant. We saw that earlier when it was play side, and a guy coming here, we saw a slant correctly hit from Milton. But on this side, on the backside, he didn't correctly read that. Again, what's the saying that if there's another defensive back directly behind a defensive back, that's usually a sign of something, right? In this case, it was that guy's blitzing, and this would be open with only over-the-top help. So Milton doesn't recognize that. Again, pre-snap reads, probably something McNamara was a little bit better on from the quotes we have from him as well. So that's a big loss right there to take on 2nd and 5. So you see, he only saw it late, tried to get out of it, but he wasn't aware of it early enough to make the correct slant read there. Here's another one where I'm questionable of the coaching staff, but also of the reads here for Milton. Okay, so I'll rewind this play as well, but this play goes for nothing for Haskins up the middle. Again, you're 2nd and 7. A couple of yards there would do a lot. Now you're 3rd and 5.5, 3rd and 6. That doesn't set your offense up well. But here's the issue here. The read is supposed to be on this fellow, right? This guy is not blocked. Whether he comes inside or he stays outside, that depends what happens at this mesh point between Haskins and an outside run for Milton. That's the other option here with your blocks coming around here and here. Actually, I'm sorry. Eubanks is getting to the 2nd level. So they're leaving this guy unblocked to be read. And you can see the eyes initially for Milton come here. But watch Milton's eyes here. Look, he's looking at the mesh point, right? He has a split second initially after the snap to look at this guy, but now his eyes are on the ball. And watch, it doesn't really come off until he's already at the mesh point. At that point, he's probably still trying to find exactly where his read guy is. So his eyes coming off the read there to locate the mesh point. I feel like that has to impact his read if it is a true read. Again, we don't really know what this was truly called, but I'd have to think leaving this guy unblocked, this is the read concept. Either keep outside or give Haskins here based on his movement either to the outside or to the inside. So to me, this is an incorrect read, but I don't have the knowledge. It didn't seem like they had a whole lot of called reads for Milton. They probably don't trust him as much as McNamara, and that's the reason. Also, when your run game isn't doing well, you take away a lot of those reads because of the defensive tendency to be able to play the pass more if you're winning more battles up front, which Rutgers was in this game. So again, at this point, it's a give, even though this should have been a keep. But again, how do we really know whether this was a true called give or keep? With how everyone is looking, right? The blockers are looking back. Everyone's kind of looking inside. I don't know. I can't tell for sure, but it seems like the offense was a little bit handcuffed there. And I don't know why. It seems like that should be a read that's capable. Okay, so now we're at the McNamara stuff. What did we learn from this kind of film from Milton here? Very few reads, right? It didn't seem like he had a lot of reads in the playbook for him. It's an offense that, going back even a couple weeks, they've been behind schedule quite a bit. We saw it here. Run plays that can only get a yard or two. You're setting yourself up at 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, or 2nd and long consistently. That will just naturally constrict the playbook. I said before, the run game helps establish an RPO game because the defense has to then make choices of whether to defend the run or pass. And I didn't see a whole lot of reads there from Milton. Checkdowns were not really a thing that Milton did very well. If his first read wasn't there, usually he didn't tend to come off his reads that quickly, and nor did I really see checkdowns, and that, again, goes back a couple of weeks. So that hurts you as well in setting yourself up for more likely to have incompletions on 1st down or 2nd down to set up a 3rd and long situation. And then finally, pre-snap reads and tendencies. We saw a couple sacks he took, some potential misses he had on his reads, and that's never something that you want to see as an offensive coordinator when your offense is heavily dependent on those reads, either post-snap or pre-snap in Michigan's case. Okay, so let's move on to the McNamara plays here. So let's look at some things that I think is really important to point out, is that the run game had a lot of yards in the second half. Again, 17 in the first half. I think they only ended up with around 170 or 150, something around that area, but that's a huge difference from 17 yards in the first half alone. All right, so this first play is McNamara just manufacturing yards on his own, right? None of that was well blocked by any means, right? Watch this again. None of this was well blocked. This is Haskins picking up yards, and we didn't see that in the first half a lot. Having more patient back like Haskins, obviously that helps a lot, but that's huge. Here's another play here that we didn't see in the first half. This is a wham. This is a trap play based on the tendencies of Rutgers, something I haven't seen all season and something that wasn't shown in the first half. The key aspect of this wham blocking is you let 50 come upfield because he's just crossing the face of the center every time. He's just crossing the face here, or I think this is the tackle in this case, but regardless, let him go upfield. You're going to have Eubanks here, take him out. You're going to have a first step here, and then he's going to cut off this block. We didn't see this all first half, right? This is a new concept that I feel like I think is new first time this season. So that's something, again, maybe it was a halftime adjustment, but Milton didn't get the benefit of that. And this was Michigan's first 25 or over 20 yard run since week 1, right? So that's a schematic advantage that McNamara benefited of from Michigan implementing. Here's a well-blocked play for Corum. Let me rewind that. Sorry, I had a bad spacebar click here. So this is just a really well-blocked play overall, right? Look at the guys on the ground. This is just finally Michigan's able to plant some guys, right? No schematic changes here. It's just an inside run here, and these guys just create a ton of room for Corum to pick up a first down on 2nd and 9. This next run here, hard run from Haskins. Again, he's manufacturing these yards. That is not a well-blocked play. He's just fighting hard here to create his own yards. Really nice balance, good patience, and he just battles his way. And this was a consistent theme in the second half. Here's another one. Again, nothing there. Cuts once, cuts twice, and he's got a first down. So again, not a whole lot of blocking here was better. It was just a different style of running that Haskins brought with a lot of patience that helped enable some of the blocks, like here Mason, that enabled him to get on to number 3, and for Haskins to adjust for that again, we just didn't see in the first half. So that wasn't it. There was a lot more reads, a lot more decision making, but there was still like some plays that I don't really understand, and this is less of me doing like Milton versus McNamara and more of an indictment against the staff of what are they teaching on this play. So this is just an example. Let's just watch. I'll do a rewind and replay of this as well. So Corum obviously gets bottled up for a couple yard losses. 3rd and 3, right? So to me, here's what I'm thinking. You're sending Henning on a little screen flare, whatever, this flare route, and then you're sending 2 guys out on slants here, right? So the guy they're leaving unblocked off the edge is this gentleman, right? You also have this safety up top, but this is the main guy who I would consider read number 1 And keep an eye on this guy as read number 2, okay? These guys are in man-to-man. They're accounted for. Everyone else is accounted for in run blocking, okay? This is the motion for the running back here. And watch McNamara's eyes. His eyes will go directly to this edge player, right? And the goal here, at least in my eyes, is based off of his movement, I will have a numbers advantage to the outside, right? If he stays out, say he drops back for pass coverage, then I am 4 on 3, right? If this guy drops back into coverage, he's dropping over the slant, anything like that, then you have a disadvantage in the pass game or anything to the outside to your left. If he comes flying inside off the edge here, then you have numbers to the outside. Then it's technically 3 on 3, but you also have your quarterback who's running out this way, and that puts players in conflict. So you watch the eyes of McNamara. That's who he's looking at. He's looking at this edge guy coming around the end here. Imagine in this case that McNamara keeps, right? McNamara keeps. He's running out here. You also have A.J. Henning, and you have multiple options here. These two guys will run off these guys on the slants. They're coming inside here. The only guy you have to read now is this safety. If he goes out to Henning, that's a big pickup for McNamara off the edge here. He can run here. He only has these guys after they get off the slant routes here. He can run the ball. Now, if this guy defends the run from McNamara to the outside here, then he can throw to A.J. Henning. You have these guys taking the defensive backs out of their zone here. And if this guy commits, you have no one out in this zone, right? So that should be the read. And McNamara was generally good on this read, but here he gives the ball, even though it's, look at the hips of this edge defender. This guy's clearly going this way. If this is a keep right now, there's no way this guy can turn and run with McNamara. It's just not possible. So that's where I question, and this was something that I was always questioning with Milton. Why is this not a read? They ran this orbit motion before, and they haven't done anything out of it. I don't know what they're holding back from. You're losing to Rutgers, right? So anyway, that's like just kind of a doomed read in general that in this case did hurt McNamara as well. So whether that was a read or just a missed read, I can't say for sure, but that still persisted. So the second one here, RPO to Sainristil. This is something I haven't seen where they're reading this corner, right? They're reading this guy. This guy's coming off of the edge, off of the fake here, and you deliver a pass over the top of him to Sainristil. Again, something I don't think we've seen a lot of RPOs with Milton. Well done from McNamara to read that correctly, deliver a ball, 2nd and 7 becomes 1st and 10. Here's another one. Touchdown bust, right? You had Rutgers just setting a ton of pressure here. They're setting a ton of pressure, and this is just a situation where how many times have we seen someone deep open for Michigan and Milton just missed him, right? So give credit for McNamara for staying in there, recognizing the coverage bust, and delivering a catchable ball. He didn't have to lead him, put it perfectly in stride. He didn't. He lofted it up, made it a really catchable ball. Johnson can hold up a little bit for it in the plenty of space that he has, and that's exactly what you want, right? Recognize the coverage bust, deliver a catchable ball in the area. It's perfect. It's exactly what you want. Something we didn't see enough with Milton, with some opportunities on some deep balls that he threw inaccurately. So that's good. Here's a check down, and I include this. It doesn't seem that great, but he came off of his first read, maybe a second read here, just threw it down for Evans, right? Evans able to pick up 4 or 5 yards. Think of that, what that does for your offense. Instead of 2nd and 10, which Michigan's seen a lot of, you have a lot of options on 2nd and 5 to pick up that first down. And here you see exactly what that is. You can run Eubanks just on a little hitch, catch, picks up a yard, and boom, now you got a fresh set of downs. That's something that I think is really underrated that I haven't seen a whole lot of what Milton has performed. He hasn't shown an ability to check down as much. So here's one, a really tough pass across the middle to Eric All, right? So this is just one of him just making good throws. And that's right on the money on 3rd and long, and that's what you want to see. I think this is maybe one of Milton's strongest sets is throws across the middle, but it's good to see McNamara can do that as well. And then here's an RPO pass to Eubanks. So this is an interesting one where he's reading off of this guy right here. He's going to, after this read, the fake here on the run, he's going to fake out this way because you have this screen action as well, just to try to hold him up a bit. But at this point, he's already decided to throw up the seam to Eubanks. So it's a good decision here and a nice throw, right? Kind of like a back shoulder as well, away from the defender. So that's, again, a good read and a good accurate pass to Eubanks. Just give him a chance to go up and make a play, and he does. And then a couple things that we haven't seen yet. So this first play is just a speed option. It doesn't go particularly well. This isn't something that we've seen with Milton. We haven't seen all year. And it's more of just a curiosity of why are we seeing that now? Do they have different playbooks? Do they have, like, what's the scenario? Was it just not a look that the defense gave you earlier? Just curious things where we haven't seen them all season. They're breaking them out for McNamara, but maybe it's just a coincidence. But it's just something I noticed. And then here's one on 4th and 5. A couple things on this play. Watch your bottom of the screen here. This is the first time they attempt the little pick route here with this slant from Chris Evans. And it's the first time I've seen Chris Evans at least catch a ball. I don't know if they've run him out wide. I know they've done that with Corum, but again, we haven't seen Evans split out wide like that. At least I haven't seen him catch a slant like this, and I haven't seen a pick route combo. So that's another concept that is new, from what I can tell, to the offense this year that we're seeing with McNamara. It's just interesting. Here's another iteration of that where you have Ronnie Bell running the pick route a little more successfully with Sainer still. And again, it's just, this is something where I don't know if this is, again, just situational and they're doing this regardless of who the quarterback is, but these are unique looks that the other team doesn't have on film. And that's important, right? You're more likely to get a schematic advantage with those kind of plays. And then these are just some really good plays to note from McNamara. Just really good arm angle on this pass to Eubanks. This is just a called play action pass to Eubanks. He has to get out quickly because of the pressure. Really nice sidearm there to deliver that ball. It's not easy to do, so give credit there. Then here's just a true read option off the edge. Thing I like most, no hesitancy, right? He's running really hard. He dives over. You can see the eyes here making the read, and it's a decisive read, and then he dives over the defensive back to get in. So I like that. I like to see that. So what did we learn overall from watching McNamara's film? Run game opens up a lot in general, right? That's quarterback independent, but it also opens up the RPO, which puts a lot more on the read game on McNamara. We didn't see a whole lot of RPO over the past couple games for Milton. Now, whether that's because the run game has been primarily ineffective those games, or they're not comfortable giving Milton those kind of reads, I can't say for sure, but that's a thing. Like, that's a for sure thing, and it's a big part of this offense that was missing. Most of the running back yards we saw were on the running backs, right? Haskins did a really good job manufacturing his own yards. I like Charbonnet and Corum. I think Haskins has the best patience, and that's what's needed with a young line with aggressive pass rusher, or with aggressive defensive linemen, I should say, for Rutgers in this game. So that really lended the offense well to stay ahead of schedule, right? Have the whole playbook at your disposal because you're in 2nd and 5s, 3rd and 3s, things like that, that under Milton, we, at least the past few games, that run game hasn't been there to create those situations as much. And on those reads, McNamara was generally pretty good. Whether pre-snap or post-snap, he was generally decisive and correct in those reads. Again, that opens up a lot for your offense overall. And then there was new stuff, right? The wham concept that was probably a halftime adjustment, but we haven't seen that all year. That opens up a lot in the run game. You had a couple screens to Cornelius Johnson that I don't think we've run in the past. I didn't show him on this clip, but that's kind of what we've seen. The speed option, the pick route, Chris Evans out wide. These are new things that they're running with McNamara that it's likely some of those are just a coincidence and maybe opponent dependent, but there's still things we didn't see offered with Milton that I think McNamara did depend on. And finally, like, I think the final thing we learned, McNamara's up to the task, right? He executed well. He didn't make mistakes. You accounted for 5 touchdowns where, past 2 games, McNamara's accounted for 7 touchdowns. Milton has 0. So it's clear you're going with McNamara in the future. Anything that you hear otherwise is coach speak. He puts the offense in a good position, a better position to be successful. I think the staff also did a lot of things for McNamara to make him successful, maybe more so than Milton. So I guess the final word is we were really optimistic about Milton after the Minnesota game. I think we need to pump the brakes here on McNamara. I think there's still a lot to be seen. Now that he's put on film, opponents will have that to key in on certain tendencies, different aspects there. Leading into this game, Rutgers didn't have any of that, right? He's a brand new guy. As you get more game experience, you're more likely people are to game plan around McNamara, and that could change things, right? So it's more of a pump the brakes, but he showed everything that he could in these first two appearances against Wisconsin and against Rutgers to be cause for optimism, but cautious optimism nonetheless. All right, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Appreciate all the support. We're close to 1,500 subscribers, so let's get there. Watch for analysis. Hopefully I can have that coming in the next couple of days. But beyond that, thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. And as always, go blue.